So hello everyone, welcome to another motorcycle feature. New here, this is the MT10 SP, and for today's video we'll have a quick look about it. So yeah, we'll be testing this one out. So what he did is he put a tall windscreen on the front. This is meant for touring purposes, so he did that, and I think that's a good addition. So it kind of balances the look of the bike, because without it I think it's kind of empty, pun intended. But yeah, an empty that's not so empty. Anyway, so next up is he added in bar and mirrors. He did this temporarily, I think, because he said that the stock side mirrors does not have much good visibility, so he changed for bar and mirrors. Okay, so and then here you can see he has a dashboard. This is called the Chigi AI05 Lite. It has phone connectivity. It has a camera on the front. I wonder where he put it. It's here. And then for the rear, that. So he has a tail tidy as well. It's NRC. And then on the engine he has protectors, the GB Racing frame covers or engine covers. So he has one on the left on the stator, he has one on the right for the clutch and the whatever that is. So also you can see here he has the tech spec tank grip. It's really nice. I think it complements the bike. It added in more black parts to the bike, which is nice. I mean, yeah. So besides that, this is the GRX frame sliders or engine slider, and this is proudly Filipino made. And one thing about this is, in any case you drop the bike, you can easily replace this front part. He also has the GRX spools, and I think it's going to be an ideal thing to put in axle sliders. This is already warm, so let's go. Oh my goodness, let's go. So this is the Yamaha MT10, and we will be using it for this morning. Oh my goodness, this is my dream bike actually, and I'm trying to figure out the perfect mix of the clutch and the gas at the moment. And for the ride height, the seat is quite wide, but for some reason I'm easily able to manage the height. My height is 5'6" with a 30-inch inseam. Okay, so we're going to try a full. I know that's popping. And of course, this is not your standard or usual inline 4. This is a crossplane 4. So Assure. Oh, that's something unique. When I quick shifted downwards, there's like a, what's this? Like a feeling of it's moving forward a bit. Okay, so this is a definition of torque. I can feel it. I love revving this thing. So the clutch quite goes far a bit. Let's see. So this is really suitable for the roads because it's master of torque, as its name suggests. It's the MT10, so there's a lot of torque going on. Oh, I'm still in. Have a signal. It's not, the ergonomics is not that bad. I'm quite relaxed. I'm really happy right now because I came from the 10R, and the sitting position is really good. And I just saw it on the reflection of this car in front, that it actually looks like an R1, sort of. like an Evolve R1. Alright, so for the ergonomics, let's go here. Okay, finding neutral, really easy. So I've been finding neutral really easy with no faults any for all of the duration. Okay, so looking at the cockpit here, whoa, that's really close, man. So for the left side switch, the passing light is on the front. So the button over here that you see is for modes, so you can easily switch through modes depending on what you want. And if you want a quick change of modes, you can go here and then do this there. So mode D has the most intrusive and most restricted power settings. Mode C is for CPUs, and then mode A, it is for track use. So going back to C, since we're just in the city. Anyway, so on the other end, so you have your hazard over here, you have your turn signals, your horn, and then you have your cruise control. And something that's really unique for this one is, let's check it out later. Oh god. So normally on my Z9 I don't feel this kind of bumps, but the MT-10 has an electronic suspension. As you saw earlier, you can adjust it. Feels so nice. Oh, the rear brake is really good. I can feel it. Why do I feel it? It's a lot more responsive compared to the front. Overtaking is easy. God, I love that sound. So something about the Crossplane Force is, unlike the inline 4 counterparts, this has a bit more vibrations. And when I downshift, there's a bit of acceleration happening. So I think it's the engine compensating for the downshift that's happening. And actually this is the first time I've experienced something like that. So usually on other engine platforms that I've tried, I don't experience that happening. Oh boy. Here we go. As you can see here, there's a dash cam or a head unit, and we have visibility on our rear. So yeah, this is called the Chigi AIO5 Lite. So it has cameras on the front and cameras on the rear, and you have phone connectivity, but since this is not mine, I did not bother connecting my phone to this one. So I think this is very suitable. If I was using the 10R, I'd be really mad right now, because how bad the traffic is. You can see how much cars, so everyone's going to work. And fortunately, on my company, we have Australia Day. To my Australian friends, happy Australia Day to you guys. It's quite perfect day to ride and review this MT-10, I guess. So far, adjusting from the Z9 to the MT-10 is, it's not that hard to control. And so far I'm enjoying the experience. It's just that the clutch pull is on the firmer side again. And what's happening? Oh wow. The rear suspension is really bouncy. Anyway, so for the controls, or for the dash, this uses the same one as the used by the R1. They did not bother changing it. So as what the other review said, the screen is rather small, but in my case I think it's fairly informational. I mean, I can see what's needed, I can see how much fuel I have, and nicely compared to the Street Fighter, this one has a fuel gauge. And then for the RPM, I can see here it ranges up to 11, and then red line's at 12,000 RPM. And yeah, there's much information I can see. So there's enough information, so you can see the RPM, you can see the fuel gauge, you can see the gear indicator, and your speed. And then actually the font use is really nice. It's easily visible, so I have no complaints there. Oh god, so flickable. I wouldn't say the same for the 10R, so, or any sport bike. Ooh, so far so good. No complaints. I can't feel the engine heat yet. Okay, so one of the things that I wish that Yamaha does is, since I'm really into classic motorcycles, I hope they make something for the XSR, so they can actually call this the XSR1, I guess. Be really cool, right? I mean, having a MT10 with a XSR look, right? Combined with this beautiful power, the technology in it, since the XSR 900 also has a lot of tech in it. So that's why I think, there should be an XSR1. Come on, Yamaha, I'd buy one. You see that? So that's one. I mentioned earlier, when you shift or when you downshift, there's a bit of push forward because of the engine compensating for the RPM. So that's my first time experiencing some kind of stuff like that. And the RPM climbs really fast. Good Lord. Brake test. Perfect. And welcome to my favorite testing place, because here it's not that traffic and there's some fair, beautifully, nicely placed roads. Okay, so what I really like about this bike now is how much balance there is, even though there's lots of power in it. Yeah. It's nice. Okay, so again, since I'm in mode C, that's still mode C, that's crazy. I want to go into other modes, so maybe, okay, once you're moving, you can't really change the modes. Yeah, you can't. So you need to be halted in a very I don't know if it's a good thing or a bad thing, changing modes during riding, but I think it's better to change modes when you're stopped. Maybe I can change to mode B later on. I think the suspension is too soft for my liking. I guess you need to be a neutral to change ride modes. There you go. Okay, we're now in mode B. And then, since I'm here, let's try it. Full throttle. Full throttle here. Let's go. Full throttle. Yeah, so weirdly enough, the MT10 features that it has a speed limiter. So this is really weird. Imagine something with a lot of horsepower, the torque and everything. Okay, let's have a pull. Hold on, let me test it further. I don't feel much difference between mode B and C yet, so so yeah, the throttle is, I think it could be better because I'm still in mode B. Let's try. God. So once you reach 6,000 RPM, there's a bit of difference in the feeling, and then the vibration is much more prominent on that range. So for this below 4,000 RPM, I like its sound, but once you reach the higher ones, it changes. It's like a different motorcycle all throughout. It has a lot of usable torque, it has lots of usable power for the city. So this, I think this is a good commuter bike, and I'm not saying it's the best, it's just good. I mean, if in these situations where riding a motorcycle in the Philippine roads is more convenient and more efficient compared to cars, having this much power, the sound is just nice. I mean, it's not that hot once you reach your office, I guess. So for example, I'm going to Makati and then I'm working here in BGC. I'm not going to experience that much tiredness, because you know, this is an upright bike, this is a standard motorcycle. My worries back then while not testing the Seat is, yeah, the engine heat is going to up to you, and yeah, another thing is the fuel consumption. But a thing about fuel consumption is, if you're able to afford this bike, I think spending on fuel is no longer a problem. So yeah, like I said, above our 6,000 RPM, this bike sort of changes. And you know, it's accelerating really hard when but the buttons feels really nice. The quick shifter, the shifter pedal is very plush. The rear brake is also responsive. I think this bike actually pushes you to use the front and rear brakes simultaneously. So admittedly, I'm not really fond of using both, especially during this commute. I'm more of a front guy. I'm more of using the front brakes. I haven't heard the horn yet. Oh, I'm not sure if this is modified, but I think that's a very modest horn. But the steering feels really light. It's still light, doesn't feel that heavy. I tried some naked bikes that it's kind of hard to move around, and they said about the limited, oh yeah, okay, yeah, the steering range is quite limited, but so far so good, because this is a handlebar. You have more leverage in controlling the bike, so I guess that's limited. But I've done some U-turns, it's fairly good. Let me try another U-turn later on. It feels different. I mean, I like the sound of the lower RPM compared to the higher ones. let me demonstrate to you. So I'm in first gear. Ah. Oh wow, that's tight. That's tight. So for touring, you can always just stay on the lower RPM or the lower rev range to stay comfortable, because once you reach higher RPMs like 6,000 to 7,000, there's going to be much vibrations, which can be really tiring with prolonged use. But yeah, you still have your cruise control, so that's one thing. Personally, I don't prefer putting windscreens, especially for my use of commuting, because I need much wind as much as possible, because I need to stay cool, especially in a tropical country. And then again, we're very fortunate again, because we just experienced this kind of weather where it's not that bad. It's just really relaxed and there's not much heat going on. So again, for the heat, it's barely felt. Once you're running, you'll do fine. So for the turn signals, it's way below, so there are times where I forget to turn it off. I'm sorry, but where are you going? Okay, again, going back to the turn signals, so it's way below the display, and it's on the outside of the screen itself. So earlier I was sort of forgetting how to turn it off, but I guess that's a skill issue. This is a dream bike, and I think I'm really liking it. Okay, so there's some questions about the MT-10. So they said, why is the MT-10 a lot heavier compared to the R1? Well, first off, there's a lot of factors being added there, starting with the internals, because they changed the most of the pieces from titanium to steel, I believe from the chain as well. And then besides that, the subframe is a lot heavier as well, and then you have your handlebars. So that's why there's a lot of difference in terms of weight. And I think for most of my reviews, this is the most heavily traffic one. I'm really happy I'm not riding the 10R right now, because that would be a real pain. It's a lovely experience, even though it's quite traffic. What's straining me is again just the clutch, but the positioning is just really relaxed. I have a backpack again right now. I don't feel it compared to the 10R, where every weight that I put is an additional factor. This one, I have my backpack again, and then it doesn't feel really that heavy at all. Oh, nice Camaro, bro. Oh, I love revving this. Oh man, I love this bike. I love this bike. Oy, what the?
The overall experience is great. I didn't mind the traffic since the bike can still be agile. The handlebar is short, even though it still has bar and mirrors. Nitpicking, there's some holes in the frame meant for the R1. The passenger seat is narrow and has minimal foam. The passenger foot peg is also high. Yes, the front brakes is squishy, where I felt there's more engagement in the rear brakes. The scrolling works fine, but it also functions as a button, and you need to find the sweet spot to properly press it. The engine really worked wonders. Thanks to rider aids, I had a lot of fun using a percentage of the bike's capabilities. And that speed limiter sure is funny, but it's really useful if you think about it. It's just I hope Yamaha makes an XSR1, or at least a facelift, since they did it on the MT-07 and MT-09. So anyway, that's it for today's video. Thank you so much for watching. As always, ride safe and see you on the road.